Hey, it's Shane with GotRom.com. I'm going to talk to you today about why CrossFit injures people. And yes, CrossFit does injure people, but like I said in another video about yoga injuring people, it's often not the discipline of yoga or the discipline of CrossFit, it's the way it's done. It can be done right and it can be done wrong. I worked in a CrossFit box for about 2 years and I saw it done very, very well, where this gym was not making the 3 mistakes that I want to talk about today. But I've also seen it in other gyms where people are making 3 major mistakes. And what those are is progressing people who are coming in with not a big training background, with all kinds of previous injuries and mobility issues, and they progress them way too fast. I've seen some programs that have people testing their 1 rep max on the first week, and they're coming from being a sedentary desk jockey for 20-25 years. So that is just ridiculous to me. I don't think anyone should be maxing out on an exercise they're brand new to within the first week. They should be learning the movement pattern, working on their range of motion restrictions, and gradually and slowly building up to a 1 rep max if they ever get to a true 1 rep max. If they're not ready for it, they shouldn't do it. They should only do it when their technique is dialed in and their range of motion is adequate. So those are the other 2 mistakes that I see, is not spending enough time really dialing in technique. If you would go over to China, for example, and see how they train their athletes, they don't allow kids to touch anything more than a broomstick for the first year of training sometimes. So why can we expect a 50-year-old middle-aged man to come in, have the PVC pipe on his first intro class, and then the next time he comes in, he's got 200 pounds on his back? It's absolutely ridiculous until his technique is perfectly dialed in, or very close to perfectly dialed in, especially for someone who's not a competitive CrossFit athlete. They're just trying to be in good shape. You gotta drill that technique. The last thing is a lack of emphasis on range of motion and mobility and having symmetrical full range of motion. CrossFit has people taking their joints to every different end range position for every joint in their body. All the gymnastic movements require a lot of shoulder mobility. The Olympic lifting requires a lot of full body mobility. And it takes a long time to go from very, very tight to very, very mobile. So I don't see in a large group setting, unless you modify it for the different individuals, how someone can come in and just start overhead squatting and not be in a horribly compensated, dangerous position. So the example of the gym that I was working in, which is still an amazing gym, CrossFit ATR in San Diego, shout out to the amazing coaches at CrossFit ATR. This is a place where technique is heavily emphasized. People are progressed in a systematic and logical way, and there's a heavy emphasis and there's a culture of mobility and flexibility and body care that is exemplified by the coaches, exemplified by the athletes, and I think that kind of gym is kind of what you should strive for as a CrossFit gym. So the unfortunate truth is, yes, people get hurt in CrossFit. Sometimes it's their own fault, it's their own ego kind of like pushing them harder than they know they should, but there's a lot of times where it's the gym itself or the coaches in charge who aren't progressing people in a systematic, progressive, slow way. They're not spending enough time on technique and they're not spending enough time on mobility. So if you run a CrossFit gym, try to avoid those mistakes. Go check out the guys at CrossFit ATR if you want an example of people who are doing it right. And if you're just someone who's joining a CrossFit gym on your own, make sure that you get a lot of technique coaching. Make sure that you're not maxing out on your first week and you're progressing in a slow and systematic way. Because remember, you're trying to build a healthy organism. It doesn't matter if you squat 300 pounds or 305 pounds. What matters is that you have a strong, robust frame. And make sure that you're emphasizing mobility either in the gym or on your own. And that'll keep you safe and healthy in the long run. So give it a shot.
Yeah, be cool, be cool.